About the same.
Oh, so with Hack Fund, it was interesting because they were with Hack. We were actually so Hack was serving as the venture arm for Vodafone, the giant telecom in Europe. And so what Vodafone was looking for was basically SaaS plays that they could basically acquire and throw down their distribution channels. So like they're automatically are like they have a new great software that can be utilized by their giant company, their conglomerate,
Hmm.
and it really is even scale the products really easily. So that was really it all depend that would depend like some sizes for some seed to Series A and some bigger. And then basically Hack's strategies. They're building up a pilot portfolio basically to go to investors saying like here's like basically what we invest in and this is how we want to scale it and really attack these verticals across these different industries like these are the type of investments we make. And then on a Nebula, it really it's the early stage fund, right? So right now we're looking for basically seed stage companies. The golden goose is a seed stage company that is producing $1 million annual recurring revenue every year. And so
Hmm.
those are hard to come by, obviously. So we've been really picky with what we found, what we're like, we're investing in. Basically, I'd say right now, if you find a deal, it's got 5% chance of going through, just because that's how that's how tight we're being with our money. I want to make strong investments. I I guess that answers your question. But really, it kind of depends on what the play is. Right now we view. Right now, exchanges are very like in this exchange space. It's tough to make. If somebody's trying to launch a brand new exchange, you got to wonder why. How are you going to compete with Coinbase? How are you? What's your target market? How are you going to go for retail? Or are you going to go for institutions? Because like right now, Seed CX is really taking over the institutional market. You have groups like and groups like Bats are changing the game in settlement. So right now, the best exchanges are ones that have best exchanges right now that are growing are ones that have very strong settlement and custodial solutions built in. Because right now, if you're trying to, it used to be in the past, you want to buy 100 million or 500 million Bitcoin. Where are you gonna worth the Bitcoin? Where are you gonna store that? How are you gonna manage
Hmm.
that? And that's the problem. There's a lot of risk at play, so you got to mitigate that risk to bring in these type of investor
So you're
classes.
kind of looking at, so then I'm guessing in this format, deal size really really fluctuates basically, right? Because usually, right, if you look at a regular pre-seed or just early stage fund in general, right, they'd usually do $500,000 to $1 million investments, right? Seed Series A.
Right, and it's funny how five. That's exactly right. Like, a seed is around like a couple of seeds that we're looking at around both like one's 600,000, another one's like about round one. So it really depends. And then at the same time, man, the terminology and definitions of a seed and a
Hmm.
Series A,
They fluctuate a
Series
lot,
B, it
right?
really they
Yeah.
fluctuate. Yeah,
Hmm.
so it's kind of just say what do you? It's more of like how many times are you taking money
And
on?
depends on the risk in the
I'm
market
new to
as well,
venture.
right? Especially in you
Exactly.
guys are, since you're a crypto focused fund, that's I'm guessing the investment amount might be lower in certain areas.
Yeah, and I wanted to, I guess we could clarify too. We do look at crypto products, and we're advising crypto products as
Hmm.
well. But we're not just necessarily crypto focused. We also look at fintech as a whole, because there are some plays that we've seen where it's like, all right, well, this doesn't involve crypto at all, but they'll still like they've found a way to tokenize like digital identities and like in distributed manner. So it's all it's blockchain, but it's not it's like it's blockchain, but it's not crypto. But it's the Venn diagrams swivel a lot, but overall it's all majority of fintech, niche fintech, and property tech.
Perfect.
Hey, Michael, I think I just wanted to segue into a different topic. I kind of wanted to get your viewpoints on the students or the entrepreneurs that are getting into the blockchain or crypto space right now. Where do you think they should spend a majority of their time to make sure they're doing useful work? And kind of where do you think the trends are pointing toward right now?
Right. Thank you, Rashawn. Right now, towards when I starting out as a student, when you think about launching your own organization, or thinking about launching your own startup, I think first let's look at I guess I'll focus on what I did at University of Kansas was with the Blockchain Institute. Our idea was how can we get our foot in the door into an industry that's right now pretty opaque. It's still really nascent, and we're stuck in the middle of America and Kansas, so we're not on the coast where all the developers and the action is. So, the way we combat this one is you can't really run an organization without some funding. So, we peaked around, funding is really important, just to be able to get, put on events for students. And basically, it's the fuel for your engine, right? So, the best way to go about that is one, like, when you first start your organization, professionalism is very important. Crypto is a nascent space. There are unicorn little logos and like, crazy, conferences like crypto definitely like, brags about being different than like, investment banking or other industries. But overall, like professionalism and branding is really important. And it's, it sucks that, people won't take you seriously at first because you're a student, but if you can brand yourself as like, very professionally, then off the bat, you're going to be taken seriously and you're going to get your foot in the door. At least people are going to pick up to your calls or respond to your emails. So from that, with that regard, once you look the part, now you got to act the part. So, next I would say, what right now is trending in crypto, and student orgs is, well, right now money is still flowing, greatly into university programs. Quite a few products they need developers and they need, educated individuals that can use their protocol and build services on top of them. So right now, I would, if I was, I graduated this last year, and I'm no longer in charge of my group, but if I was just starting off again, I wouldn't really change much of a thing. I would reach out to, as many different protocols, whether it be like, Algorand or a lot of the different like student groups. Like I know Roshan, you're an ambassador for MassBelt, so those like are great. Reach out to the groups that are already informed that are like the basically help build a bridge for students and developers into crypto. And from there on, I mean, right now it's tough to say that dApp's really taken off. You have like CryptoKitties and what's this new? I'm trying to think what it's called. There's a new game coming out it's like crypto based, but overall, I think it's important to think of what's not being done yet and try to attack that. So there's games they can do with students. Like that's the way to get kids interaction with like these companies. Overall, just gotta think different and think out of the box. One of the ways that I got the like my blockchain institute into the door of these universities was by putting on a digital finance conference. And so at this digital finance conference, we had probably like 7 different companies present, from startups to large companies like Ripple. And from there on, I've developed like, great relationships with some of the guys at these startups, and, they're now my friends. So that's kind of like, I guess the number one, if you're a student group, the number one thing, if you're like, a leader or trying to get your foot in the door is, make friends in the space. And that starts with like, hey man, you want to come speak at my conference? Absolutely. Yeah. That sounds awesome. Like now it's like, I got buddies, like they'll just like, they message me on Snapchat, it's like, it went from being they went from being like, emailing very formal emails to now it's like, oh, hey, we met up for coffee. Now we're like, we're snapping each other from baseball games and we're buddies. And so I guess when you get friends in this space, this probably goes for any industry, but, when you have a friend and not just an acquaintance, acquaintance will say like, oh yeah, like it's not about who you know, it's about who you know and if they like you. Because if they like you, then they're going to help you, like just because they want to help you, especially like at the end of the day, it's for the kids. Everybody really, everybody like there's always an entrepreneurial aspect to jumping into this space in crypto. So, and people are always trying to help each other out, and you can see that in venture capital as well. Like, oh, hey, you should meet this guy. You should meet this guy. Like, being a serial networker can like, it's a great way to get as an associate's role at a firm. So, those are kind of the steps I'd say to get some of the tips I'd give to any student group trying to launch their own group, operation. And trends in general in the space are, I think I've mentioned them earlier, with, games and like, where we're going with the economics, but you really, it's just, as long as you're well vested, you're well knowledgeable on, the basics of, the economic principles that back Bitcoin and crypto networks in general, you're going to sound like one of the smartest people in the room, even though you feel like the dumbest. That's kind of the idea, right? Is to, learn as much as possible and then get yourself in the right doors where you are the dumbest person in the room. Cause no one likes being like, no one wants to be the smartest person.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for sharing all those great tips. And I definitely agree with you that this is a space that's kind of more open than kind of the traditional finance space or maybe the traditional business space, because that's even how we met. And yeah, it's been really great talking to you. I just want to give a chance for you to let all our listeners know where they can reach out to you if they have an interesting project, or maybe they want to follow up on some of the great things that you mentioned and the interesting projects you're working on. So where can they reach you at, Nicole?
Right. A great way to reach me would be through my email. I check it all the time. It is M as in Michael, mcatt, MCATT at nebulaventures.io. So it's mcatt at nebulaventures.io. And, thanks again, Roshan and Kunal, for having me on. This is a great idea for a podcast, and I'm sure it's going to be taken off. Only a matter of time. I'm going to be able to brag to my friends like, yeah, dude, Valley Bros. That's what's going on.
Yeah, thank you. It's been so great having you on, and thanks for providing a place where our listeners can reach out to you. So hopefully they reach out to you, and yeah, we'll look forward to catching up with you, and we'll let you know when it's up.